the time when we could first see the artificial faces created by AI, and there was a big sort of, I would say, panic reaction about it. Like, what can we expect now from AI when it can create truly photorealistically realistic human beings who are no ones?
Welcome to Art is Not a Thing, the podcast series about art as a practice of critical inquiry, knowledge production, and world building. My name is Carabelea, part-time host and producer of the podcast. For the new season of Art is Not a Thing, we've partnered with Radio Ö1, one of Austria's leading cultural voices, to bring you the next 6 episodes. Over the next months, my colleague and radio journalist Hannah Balber will discuss with artists and researchers whose work questions and reimagines our practices in and of the world. In today's episode, Hannah discusses digital doubles, identity, and a new kind of technological theater with Finnish media artist Hanna Haaslahti. Her most recent work, Ancestors, focuses on exploring the narrative possibilities of digital doubles. It's an immersive room installation in which AI-generated versions of the visitors begin to reproduce with one another. In conversation with Hannah, she discusses how Ancestors uses digital technologies to challenge ideas of the double and the individual. Enjoy the conversation. Welcome to the Art is Not a Thing podcast, Hannah. It's great to have you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the invitation.
In your current project, Ancestors, you explore digital doubles, relationships, and social structures. Could you describe what actually happens? So, when someone enters the installation, what do they see, and what the project is about for you?
It's a sort of immersive experience where you are first creating your own double. So the installation begins in a portal, which is connected to a virtual portal. And when you step into the physical portal, the virtual portal generates your double. And obviously, it's not exactly like you, but it resembles you. There's a bit of uncanniness, obviously, there, and I think that was important part of the artistic creation also, that there is this distance between you and the double, and the uncanniness that it's not exactly you. It's an artistic interpretation of you, makes it easier for you to then follow what happens next in the installation. And after that, you enter the second space where all the previously modeled avatars are already searching for a pair or someone, or looking for who is there. And then our system randomly pairs the avatars, and you become a parent to a digitally generated descendant. So basically, audience becomes parents of a digitally generated genealogy. And the idea for this installation came in 2018 and 19, when I saw the paper released by NVIDIA researchers. That was the time when we could first see the artificial faces created by AI, and there was a big sort of, I would say, panic reaction about it. Like, what can we expect now from AI when it can create truly photorealistically realistic human beings who are no ones? And when I was going through the visuals of that study, I thought that this could be actually interesting. Uh, not the sort of like anonymousness of these people, but if it would be you who would be created with AI, and then you would become the sort of facial resource for the next generation of avatars. So I thought that turning that anonymousness into the somebody who can then participate in the project and create the doubles, and follow the digital genealogy, I thought that that could be some kind of also tell us something about family and human relations in general.
What fascinates you about combining digital technologies with actual human presence?
Well, I think I'm as an artist, I've always been super fascinated about the doubles. And that's kind of like I started making art in the 90s, and my first installations were with digital shadows. So I really felt that this kind of double uh, double structure is something which I can really create my own artistic approach with. I was not so interested maybe with the topics of evil twin, or in German you have very powerful storylines with doppelgangers. And those are always very sinister characters. I mean, they are out there to somehow kill the original. and and I was trying to find some other meaning for my double universe, and then I found these much older stories where doubles are actually sort of enhancements or enlargements of yourself, and they are actually your helpers. And from there, I think it kind of made me think about how double somehow is a sort of manifestation of our inner duality. That's the sort of thing what I want to emphasize here, that we can be anything. We might be this person, that person, and it's not nothing to be afraid of.
I think the idea of the digital double also resonates strongly with social media culture, where we already construct, perform, and circulate versions of ourselves, essentially. So, to what extent do you think digital doubles are already a part of what we are?
Definitely. I mean, I think that's why in the first place, I think I could make this kind of installation because people were already familiar of their face or their identity being circulating and shared in the net. So I thought that that was kind of like the first step, which made this kind of work possible in the first place. But I sort of in social media, you always, I'm not there, so I'm not a specialist. But I think in social media, it's more about ownership and who owns this face and what I can do with my face and how do I want to represent myself. Whereas in my installations, it's more about, well, you'll just be an actor in a narrative which is invented by me. But I think it sort of renegotiates this power structure between the audience and the performers, because those are mixed. The audience becomes the performers. So you are kind of not visiting some kind of play where all the other actors are already knowing how this should go. You are all there visiting virtual reality as doubles. And I think that makes it a sort of how would I say, a more democratic space, perhaps, than this traditional structure that you are there together with the audience watching something what is made for you. And this is also something what I really want to break, this traditional relationship, this invisible borderline between the spectacle and the audience. And because of my background in theater as a set designer, that was kind of like what I always tried to sort of somehow question. And when I found computer vision and digital technology, I could create installations which are really negotiating these positions.
And the play that you're setting these avatars into is a story of love, one could say, or of meeting someone. Does that also play a role to you? Like, how are digital spaces, apps, dating apps, platforms also changing the way or influencing the way that we form relationships?
Well, I personally feel that this multitude of digital relationships are actually making people more lonely. in a way. So you would kind of think that I have a huge followers in Facebook, and I have many friends in online, but I think we should make a sort of clear distinction between people we are physically in contact in our lives, and not to replace them with digital contacts, because that leads, I think, to a completely different kind of relationships. And I found it that people are very easily lured into this idea that they are having a social life, even the reality is that they are sitting in front of the screen every day and just uh, uh, doing the conversations online. And I think it definitely changes. I'm not evaluating that it's going to go only bad, but it leads to a certain kind of loneliness,
Mhm.
which in your physical life. And I think that will definitely have strange consequences.
Hanna Haaslahti is a Finnish media artist and filmmaker based in Helsinki. With a background in photography and set design, she creates interactive and immersive works that explore the relationship between human presence, technology, and narrative. Computer vision is a central tool in her practice, and she's interested in how machines shape social relations. Her artworks generate new narrative interactions between people, exploring the possibilities of human machine collaboration. Her work has been exhibited at international media art festivals and in galleries, including Ars Electronica, Hamburg Kunsthalle, and the BFI London Film Festival. Her most recent installation, Ancestors, premiered at Tampere Art Museum in Finland in September 2025. The project also received an honorary mention at this year's Prix Ars Electronica in the category New Animation Art.
So in Ancestors, new family lines are formed, are actually generated through these interactions of the avatars of their digital doubles and descendants.
Yeah,
And today, detailed family trees are not as common. They maybe belong to more like privileged families, families who have those long heritages and lineages. But for many people, like the knowledge about their ancestry stops at the like great grandparents generation,
that's
probably.
true. Yeah.
How do you think digital archives are changing that or will change that in the future? Do you think in the future we will know, like, my great, 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 I don't know, grandchildren in 300 years will maybe know about me? How do you see that? How will the line of family heritage and lineage change with digital means?
Uh, I think there definitely will be. I'm kind of more curious about what's happening in the past, and because that's something which is kind of hidden from us, and we can only imagine, like, these long lineages. Where do we come from? All the beings and creatures, and going all the way there from the mysterious beginning, whatever that is. And I think there is this kind of we problem nowadays that we try to think, or we are kind of inclined to think about our face only from the perspective of the ownership. And what can I do to my face? And I own it. I can shape it. I can be anything what I want, and it's mine. And what I think is that we should be able to also look at our face as a something what I'm sharing with this long, long, long lineage of people and beings before me, and hopefully also following myself, and then see that this is something what we share, and it's a kind of like a gift what I get. And I personally, I know many people who are completely obsessed of doing digital heritages, and I think it's very very tempting way to look at with the digital tools, what's your past and maybe your future like. But I think if we manage to change into more of this kind of like a attitude of sharing our features and not just protecting and owning them. We could perhaps have also different kind of identity politics in the future, which might help also in this preservation of digital heritage in the future.
What do you mean by kind of new identity politics?
Well, if you look at how internet have changed, in the beginning, you didn't need many passwords. You could log online, and now it seems that it's all about restrictions, what you can enter, and what you can do. And I think that's obviously a sort of competition between the network safety and the people who are kind of like trying to maybe do something criminal with networks. So, in a sense, this kind of finding some kind of free space where we could again come together without these constant restrictions and passwords and identity politics. In the 90s, internet was really about that for a few years before the platforms kicked in and started to organize people in different groups.
You've been active as a media artist for several decades. What are some of the biggest shifts you've noticed also regarding your work to digital doubles, identity?
I think the biggest shift is definitely the this kind of like constantly diminishing space of uh, freedom. And in the internet, it has been kind of happening since the platforms started to emerge. And people felt that these services are better for protection and also for finding other people. But in the same time, I think that we lost some of that wilderness, what was there in the beginning. And I think since those platforms came in, we are still on the process of dominated by them. And I think that's a kind of I don't know if there's a possibility even to invent an online space which would kind of provide that kind of freedom anymore, because it seems that every time when something new is happening, very soon it becomes commodified and owned by somebody.
Coming back to the artistic form of the project, you've talked a lot about theater, and you've described ancestors as a new kind of technological theater, where digital doubles become the protagonists in a fictional story. And extending that idea, we already see personalized books, AI generated films, and digital content where people become the main character of their own story. So, how do you see that? What do you think are the consequences of this development?
Uh, I think the sort of the trajectory of technologies which make us lonelier and lonelier is is maybe sort of finding its peak in our era, with all of these customized helpers only for your needs. And I think in some ways, if you think about VR headsets, they are sort of like the as a sort of technology epitomizing this loneliness, this you alone with the self without the reach of the others in the physical space. And I think I have tried to use real space and installation space as a sort of alternative to still make this opportunity that people come together in a public space and share these same space with their doubles. That's my way of kind of trying lure people back to the real spaces, back to the square, back to the kind of meeting points where you are together with other people are experiencing a narrative.
Yeah. You said people are more lonely. Do you also feel people are more self-centered or selfish even maybe?
There's not really one answer one answer to that because if you think about, for instance, how digital sort of like GitHub, for instance, how people are sharing their code and working together, that's very not selfish. And I think that's really fantastic that how people are when they make their discoveries, they immediately share the code with other people. And also, if you think about operating system like Ubuntu, that's based on communal work where people are together making something. So there are still examples of how people can make things work very well just together, be without being selfish. But obviously, maybe there's also people who are using these technologies completely differently, and then we see this kind of opposition happening between these two approaches to digital technologies.
Hmm. And I feel like many people nowadays are also yearning for offline spaces and offline encounters or being back together, or at least I feel that way. Is it the same way in Finland? How do you perceive it?
Yeah, definitely. I think we are, especially in Finland, we are totally like overpowered with technology, and that has to do with the fact that Finland chose the digitization as a sort of agenda 20 years ago. So all the public systems, all the schools have been sort of very quickly force-fed into the digital systems. And now we see this kind of like a hangover situation that now when you say somewhere in Finland that, hey, let's make a digital innovation, everybody's like, no, don't say anything about it. I don't want to hear about it because it's kind of everybody's very fed up of this kind of like non-alternatives to the digital learning devices or social media. So I really feel that we are definitely going to see this movement out from the digital spaces.
So, what interests you, or how do you see your role also as an artist working with media, with digital technologies?
Well, I think you have to be super responsible. What kind of tools, for instance, you are using in your artworks. Also, that people can be safe at your artwork. That their personal data is not distributed without their consent or without not telling them. But in the same time, while you're making sure that you don't make any sort of security mistakes, you still have to make a compelling artwork. And I think it's sort of try walking in this very narrow space where you don't want to make sort of any stupid mistakes about identity politics, but still provide opportunities or visions for future or alternative ways how computer vision, for instance, is used. That's super important because if you see how computer vision is used by those in power, that's obviously something what I don't want to do as an artist. I want to use it to connect us, to make us tell stories to each other and not to enhance those in power.
What do you hope people take away from meeting their digital double in this installation?
In my works, I try be as little as possible to sort of force my own narrative on the people. I believe that when they see their own double, there's already a little narrative going on between you and your double. And then obviously meeting your descendant, meeting a possible parent in the installation, it hopefully helps you to reflect your own boundaries between your closed ones or your community. I mean, we come from so different kind of situations. And I feel that I wanted to, in this installation, open up this sort of like possibilities of all kind of families to enjoy it, so that there is not just one narrative which is being told, but it opens up for you a space to reflect your own social commitments, and also maybe how you are uh, controlled by your own community and your close ones, and what are the sort of limits of your own family? Where do you draw the borderline? Should it be larger? Should it be smaller? uh, that kind of questions.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for the conversation.
That's it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in and hope you enjoyed it. Today's episode was brought to you by Radio 1 and Ars Electronica. Join us next month for a new episode, and in the meantime, follow us or share the show with someone you think might like it.